Hi everyone! For our focal author this week of Robert Munsch, I decided to do it on the book called Something Good. This is one of my favorite books by Robert Munsch, and it's about a little girl who goes shopping with her dad and the kids, and the little girl's upset because she feels like the dad never puts anything good into the shopping cart. And I really connect with this book because so many times I've been in the grocery store with either my own children or seeing somebody else's children complaining about what goes into the cart. So this little girl in the book named Taya decides to take it upon herself, and she adds her own yummy, delicious things into the cart. And the dad is like, oh my gosh, no, you need to put this all back. And so at the end, he's super angry and says, you need to stay right here and don't move. And so Taya stays there, but while she's waiting, somebody thinks that she is actually a doll and puts her on display, and she costs $29.95, and people try to buy her, and then they find out she's alive and they run off screaming. But the end of the book is a little bit of a confrontation between the dad and the store manager about buying the little girl for $29.95, and the dad says, I'm not paying for her, and the store manager says, you must pay for her. And so Taya says to her dad, am I not worth $29.95? And the dad says, well, of course you are. And so he brings her home, and that's the story of Something Good. So I found a few ways that I would connect this to activities in my classroom. The first one would be through literacy, and it would be in a grade 2 classroom where we would explain how words and phrases in a text suggest feelings that appeal to the senses. So I thought it would be neat for students to recreate the story of Something Good and connect it to a real life experience that they've had where they weren't able to get something they wanted. So as I said earlier before, as a citizen in the stores, I often see kids complaining, I want this, give me this. So I would connect with the kids in my class by asking them to find a time where they felt like the little girl in the story not getting what they want. And I'd want them to come up with words that would illustrate to their readers how they're feeling so that they can appeal to the senses of the readers of their own story. So they'll come up with a cute story of their own about something they want that they couldn't get, and then use words that illustrate feelings. Another thing too is this is an awesome book to connect to social studies in the sense that you can examine how scarcity affects the decisions about the use of resources by people and governments. So I thought it would be really fun to give the students an unlimited budget and ask them to create 10 things they would want to buy where cost was completely irrelevant. And then I would group my kids into groups of 4 and tell them that they needed to narrow it down to 4 things that they had to buy. So they'd have to combine all their lists and then select just the 4 most important things. And then once they've come up to a collective decision, they could have a presentation in front of the class about what 4 things they chose and why. So there you have it. There is Something Good by Robert Munsch.